listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about improv and how. Have you ever gone to see an improv artist?
No,
I haven't either. But both these comedians did improv, but they're also like, we have these improv prompts, which we'll get to, in our back pocket at all times.
Yeah,
so
just to whip
it's
out.
really not truly then. Well, then that's the argument. Is it improv or is it not? Is it cheating or is it not? Which, again, we will get into.
Yes.
We will get into.
Yes, the cheating part. What do you think?
I don't think it's cheating, because I still think that they have to create the vehicle for which that prompt fits and lives, and for it to be funny.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, so I don't think it's cheating.
I can get on board with that.
This is rolling right into the episode.
I love when it does that.
It's a good segue. It's a good parallel. Although we may need to look up the definition of a segue
For Shelby.
for Shelby.
It's okay.
No, what's been going on?
With me, it's summertime,
I know.
so that means more lake time.
Lake. You've been at the lake. You are a beautiful bronze.
I
Your
am
hair
bronze.
is blonde.
Blonde.
You are looking good. You're looking like a summer girl.
You're looking good.
Thanks.
You
Thank
got it all going on. 3 kids.
3 kids. I have been doing my morning walks.
Yeah.
They provide so much. They're just my little escape.
And then you even ventured into taking an afternoon walk in the heat.
I was extra stressed that day, so I waited till the hottest part of the day
to go on
go on my walk. It was like kind of a punishment for myself, but also I just needed to, get that out.
I actually like
doing.
doing that sometimes.
Yeah.
Like Danny and I went on one, like a short little one. We do a little lap around the pond over here. When it's super hot, because I love to sweat
I do
it all
too.
out.
I do too.
All the nastiness that we consume every now and then.
I know, like your Eatery A pizza, but that's not nasty. It's delicious.
That was so good.
So jealous.
Shout out Eatery.
Shout out Eatery A.
Thank you for doing the Lord's work for my Wednesday night.
Absolutely.
Wednesday night dinner plans.
So good. And then the world, what's been going on. So I did want to touch on, and I don't know it by the time this comes out, it might be over, it might not be.
Yeah.
But the writer's strike has been going on.
That was popping while we've been.
Yeah. And so it does have something to do with this episode. We'll get into it later. But the writer's strike essentially, and this has happened more than once. This happened a few years ago too.
Okay.
But, all of our favorite shows that we watch, like network TV, all that, it's the writers' rooms. A lot of those people are going on strikes because they're not getting fair wages. And then a lot of this conversation around AI, like, are these big networks going to rely on AI to write these scripts? Well, no, they're not. But, that's a lot of the conversation. So they were
Right.
going on strike because they want the fair wages and they want to be paid what they should
As
be.
they should.
The actors get paid, but the
Yeah.
actors don't write the material. So
Right. So, like, you're saying, like, sitcom shows is
Yeah.
what's happening with this? Yeah.
Yep. So all of those shows have like their writers' rooms. Even like the late night TV show. Jimmy Fallon does not
Right.
write his own monologue.
Right.
I shouldn't say that for sure, but he doesn't.
No, there has to be so many people in it. He's so busy.
Many people. So all these people they're coming together and they're like, we ain't gonna take it now. So interesting.
We're not gonna take it. I was trying to think of a song. I was listening to the Kelsey Brothers podcast,
Yes.
Travis and Jason, and I'm so behind on their podcast, and I'm the one I have to listen to every episode in order. I can't bop around.
You can't.
So I, like a month ago, got done with his Saturday Night Live one, and he took us through like the ins and outs of what it's like that week of before the show.
Isn't
and
it
it's
interesting?
Just wild. He said there's so many like scripts thrown at him and writers writing. Like he goes into
and they all
pitch
night.
him. I know.
They're working around the clock,
and they do that every week.
It's insane. They are doing it round the clock, and then so the writers specifically. So that's just the talent, and it's grueling.
Right.
The writers. Conan O'Brien used to be a writer on Saturday Night Live, and so hearing from his perspective, I love his podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, they would be up all night long.
Yeah.
They'd be pitching things, getting it denied, refining it. Like it's
Even
nuts.
like minutes before the show, they don't know what's going to make it and what's not going to make it and stuff. It's just wild. Like he was saying how Creed Humphrey, the center for the Chiefs, he came out like last minute for one of these scripts or skits that were going to be performed, and they didn't even make it to his skit. So
yeah,
I know.
It's so interesting.
Sorry, I thought that guy wanted to come in here, and I'm like,
does he?
I don't know.
All right, we're back. We had a visitor in the studio. Okay, so speaking about the 24-hour around the clock, just a fun factoid about the 24-hour news cycle. Do you know when, I mean, you've been around, as long as you've been around, it's been a 24-hour news cycle. Mm-hmm. So what I mean by that is the news is just running. You could turn on CNN right now. There's news. At 2 a.m., there's news. Do you know when that started?
No. No, I don't.
Okay. It technically first started in 1986 when the Challenger exploded.
Oh, okay.
So they picked it up and they were covering it around the clock. And then the second time was in Midland, Texas in 1987, October 14th, when baby Jessica fell down the well. Have you ever heard that story?
No, I haven't. I'm way too young.
I know you're way too young. Well, I was listening to someone cover this, and I'm like, I was alive, but I was not even a month old.
Right, you would have no recollection.
So yeah, they covered this story of this little girl. She fell down this
well.
It was like a tube sticking out of the yard. I mean, small. She was 18 months old. She fell down. She was down there for 72 hours. And they had to...
She survived?
She survived.
Damn.
They had to drill another, like a parallel hole and then get her from underneath and then pull her out.
Oh, my God.
Insane. Traumatizing.
Yeah.
She was fine. I mean, she did lose a toe. Because she was in
what toe?
She was in like the splits position.
The baby. You got John to...
I know. I was listening. My heart, because, I mean, I have all these kids.
Yeah.
I was like, and this is the second time I've heard, I've known about this story. The second time I've actually listened to this episode of this podcast. But yeah, but anyway, the 24-hour news cycle really kicked off after baby Jessica fell down the well, the tube. I know, but isn't that so interesting? And it's just changed the way we do everything.
Right.
It's just, we are in the know constantly now.
Like one little thing or one little moment can make such an impact for like the trajectory of the future.
Right? Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That pipe story though reminds me of, did you ever watch the Cheetah Girls?
Yeah.
So the first one, when the dog is stuck in the... That's what my head went to.
Yeah, I know.
That they all break out in songs.
Shout out. Sorry, baby Jessica. We're not comparing you to the Cheetah Girls, but we kind of are.
That was that's the only thing I could relate it to. So I could get in that mindset. Oh my gosh, the Cheetah Girls.
I know. But life-changing, world-changing. What else? Apple had their...
Apple, yeah. I was listening to a podcast, and they were talking about the new updates for Apple, which I'm kind of on board with them. I can see. Let me get into it. Actually, I'm going to pull up the article on my phone so I don't.
Because it was the event. It was the event.
They have this event every year where they're coming out with their new latest and greatest.
Yes.
Okay. Apple revealed that users will soon be able to leave video voicemails via FaceTime.
I've been asking for this for years.
Right?
Like why aren't you picking up?
How cute. I love that.
Can I say I was ahead of my time on this?
Yes, you can.
Because back in college, we would be pre-gaming in our dorm room or our apartment, what have you. I would use my webcam to leave video messages on my friends' Facebook wall. Oh. It wasn't cute.
Yeah, it is.
Because those... have come back to haunt me. And every time someone will because Facebook has memories now because the AI and whatever, Facebook memories, it like, hey, do you remember this memory? So I've been deleting for the past 15 years, like delete, because I don't want to see that shit. No. The stuff I was saying, behaving, drinking that UV blue, of course it was public. Anyway, cringe.
Dang, UV blue.
UV blue.
That shit will take you back.
I don't.
You were ahead.
I don't want to steal this.
It does say this long-awaited feature makes the user experience more seamless if you try to FaceTime a friend and they don't pick up.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Are you more of a FaceTimer or a caller?
No, I'm a texter, straight up.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not FaceTiming. No.
I'm a FaceTimer. You FaceTimed me this week.
I did.
You just missed
because I missed you, and I know that you're a FaceTimer.
Yeah, I am a FaceTimer. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited about that. Another one is live voicemails. Like, so if let's say someone calls you and they're starting to leave a voicemail, you can pick up and see what they're saying. So if it is like a scammer or if it's like your grandma that...
This is made specifically for millennials because I am not going to pick up that phone, but then... Yeah, and then I don't even want to go in and listen to the voicemail that someone left me.
Yeah, I'm like, is it bad?
Yeah. Oh, so funny. Okay.
So now you can read what someone is saying as they're saying.
Interesting. Can you pop into the call then?
I think so. Let me read. Apple's also adding a feature while contacts are leaving you voicemails.
Interesting.
If you decide to pick up in the middle of the voicemail, you can. So cool.
It's like, oh, that's crazy.
Another thing with the FaceTime, though, they're like giving you can customize their screen. So like, let's say when someone calls you, it's no longer like their contact image. When someone calls you, your camera pops up, I think, right?
You have to now like acknowledge that you want your face to show up because it's like a 2-step process now. I've noticed that.
Okay.
FaceTime. It used to just be like, you know, but now you have to like push the little deal.
Yeah, because I think when someone calls you, like the camera starts to get active and like you pull it up and you can see yourself. Now when someone FaceTimes you, it's like their image, or you can do like an avatar, like you can customize the home screen, which is also like kind of cute.
It is kind of cute.
And then the last one, this big one that I'd love to get your opinions on, is these VR goggles.
Okay.
So from my understanding, how they work is more, you can put them on. They're like legit goggles.
Okay.
And you can see your phone, and it like tracks your eye movement, so you can interact with your phone through these goggles while still like it'll detect a person. So like you can still see through that, if it makes sense. It's not like you're in a blackout with just your phone.
It's just an immersive experience. I mean, I don't like it.
No.
I don't.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be an old woman.
It's
like,
weird.
get up. I just think our phones already control our lives.
I know.
I mean, they do.
Yeah.
And great. We have our calculator, our camera, or whatever. Mm-hmm. But that's just too immersive.
The only beauty I see in this is if I'm on an airplane.
Sure.
And I want to watch a show. I can put on my goggles instead of like holding my iPad or my laptop or my phone.
Sure.
And I can throw my goggles on for a nice like $3,400.
Oh yeah, just a drop in the bucket. I'm so self-aware that I'm not putting on a pair of goggles, not self-aware, self-conscious. I'm the only dumbass on this airplane with these
goggles
forking goggles on. Like,
can you imagine? Like,
and then you're sitting there and the flight attendant comes by and she's like, peanuts, and I'm like, I can't.
That is so funny.
What?
Well, even imagine someone walking down the street with those things
Absolutely
on.
not.
Crazy.
I would be like, you're a nerd.
And you're going to be bully them?
Shove them. And then they're like, why did you do that? Because they're a nerd.
Do you like VR in general, like the concept of it?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and I think it's cool. I think like the back end development of it is so crazy beyond anything my brain, just works in a different way than my brain works.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't have a pair of goggles at home. I don't.
You don't go
VR
home
on the weekends. No.
Your second life.
Yeah, no.
They have like a world for it.
I know. It's dangerous.
It could be.
I think it could be dangerous.
It reminds me of Sims.
And then have you seen the movie? And then we'll get into the podcast, I promise. The movie, oh God, Don't Worry, Darling. You haven't seen it? Okay, homework. Go watch it. I mean, there was all that drama, the red carpet drama after it came out.
Oh, yeah, with, who was that director?
Olivia Wilde.
Yes, who dated Harry.
Yeah.
Harry.
Okay, all right. Should we just roll into it?
Yeah, I think we babbled enough.
We have, but if you listen back after we get through the end of this episode, all of this is relevant.
Make sense.
It will make sense. So, can you guys tell? Can you tell that this is different? This feels different.
You think so?
Yeah. This is a very special episode.
We're planned and prepared.
We are. In this episode, the whole idea began. We were talking Chat GPT. We were talking artificial intelligence. We were like, why don't we have Chat GPT, which we will get into the definition. We will get into all of that. Write our episode outline for us. Mm-hmm. So we did that, and it generated this beautiful outline for us. And we were like, okay. But the more Shelby and I were talking about it, we were like, well, first of all, I didn't put in the right parameters for what I wanted it to do, which we will get into that later. I didn't prompt it correctly. We'll get into that later. So it kind of just went crazy and gave us like an 8-segment, very long, intense episode outline. And we were like, this is going to take more than 25 to 30 minutes. We should extend this into a series.
Yeah.
So right now you are listening to the first installment of our ChatGPT AI focused discussion series. And we're just really excited to open up this conversation. We are not sitting here saying we are the experts of ChatGPT. We are just so excited to engage with all of you, start a conversation, ask you questions, and just see how we can jump in, dive into all this together. We have been using it here at Bing Bang, and we'll discuss that later too. But what an exciting time for technology.
I know, it's so cool. Like you and I were talking, it's kind of like that relation to when the internet first came out, right? People were like, the internet, what? Like, I'm never going to use that. Like you always reference this Today Show clip, and the same thing has kind of been with...
What's internet?
Yeah.
Katie Couric, what's internet?
Yeah. And it's kind of the same thing with this emergence of AI and ChatGPT getting integrated into like our daily lives. It's the same conversation, and we want to be, we're the students of this. And like, as you said, we were, we just were like, let's just have it do an outline. And then as we kept diving into it more, we're like, this is overwhelming and this can be a lot for someone who has no idea what's happening. So we wanted to take you on this journey with us, of us like diving into starting with this episode, like laying the foundation of what is it, how does it work, how can, we're going to get later on into like, how can I use it, and like, how can I be more effective with it? So by the end, we're like, I don't want to say experts, like it is this new and emerging technology that people are just starting to figure out how to use. We just want to use it in a way that's more effective and efficient in our marketing jobs and businesses, because it can save us so much time and so much money and so much energy.
Absolutely. Yes. We want to start this conversation so we have the knowledge where we can use it and it's not this intimidating thing, much like the internet was back in, the late 80s, early 90s. No, it's just a tool. And we'll talk about how we use it right now and how other companies use it. We'll get into all that. But I want it to be more, like, we want to embrace it. Like, it is this new tool. It's here.
It's not going anywhere. It's happening. So like, people that are scared of like, it's going to take my job. It's like, no, it's not going to take your job. It's going to
allow it to make your job better.
Yep. 100%. At least that's from my
absolutely
perspective.
No, absolutely. And like you said, it's here. It's not going anywhere. I've got a couple Mack Stats for us. Okay.
Throw them at me.
The sources will be in the show notes. So according to the latest available data, ChatGPT currently has over 100 million users, and the website currently generates 1.8 billion visitors per month.
Yeah.
Billion.
It's so crazy. And I was trying to find some info on that too. And one girl I follow, I wrote her name in here somewhere. We'll get to it. But she was talking about how like it's such an underutilized tool as well, because that number is huge and it's crazy, but people like aren't using it. So many people aren't using it yet, Well,
no. And so do you remember I think it was the very first episode of the Bing Bang Download. Yes. Maybe the first or second. We were talking about trends to watch in 2023 for marketing, or, everything.
Yeah.
And AI was one of them. And that is when the images were really popular. Everyone was uploading their AI generated images. And so everyone, well, at least, that was just it's very visual. We're in a visual world. That's the first thing they see. And so AI. I think a lot of people just associated with their mind, oh, AI is just those beautiful Facebook pictures. Right. That's what AI is. I don't want to use that. Either they did or they wanted to or they didn't. And that's where it ended. That's where their knowledge of AI ended for them. And like we said in that episode, no, it's so much more. It's copy that you're writing. It's those chatbots that you're getting. It's those prompts. It's your algorithm. AI is everything, and it's in everything that we do.
100%.
It's like, I think what's so clever about it is it didn't really give you an option. It's just here. It's not forcing you to use it, but it's, all these companies are. So it's not like you have to have this big like inner discussion with yourself. Like, should I use it or should I not?
Yeah.
Just
start messing around with it. Yeah. That's what we've kind of been doing around here is we'll start, I know I've used it for some social stuff. We've used it for some like even calendars. I've seen it do calendars for
Yep.
people. So just start messing around with it. Like I said, you're not too late to get in the game.
No.
If anything, I would get in the game now because it's just going to keep transforming the way we do business and marketing. And just start testing it out.
Yes. Yes. And so if you're scared, here's another Mack Stat. ChatGPT has an accuracy of 85% plus. So again, we'll get into what that means in terms of how you use it, but it can even write flawless code snippets, making it a valuable tool for even software engineering.
Yeah.
We are not engineering software over here. We are telling stories on behalf of these wonderful businesses. We're not rocket scientists, but rocket scientists could, in theory,
100%.
use it, and it could be accurate. Obviously, with everything, you're going to fact check, and you're going to make sure it's not going to do your job for you. But 85% accuracy, that is just kind of crazy to me.
It's so wild, and we'll get into why that is as well, because I kind of break down how it actually works in the grand scheme of things. But you don't need to be a rocket scientist. I watched a TikTok the other day. A girl, she had a leak in her roof, and she wanted to write her, who's the person that's in charge of like the apartment complex? Landlord.
Yeah.
To fix it. And she wasn't getting any response back. So she wrote into ChatGPT. She was like, in the voice of a lawyer, please write an email that says that this issue needs to be fixed right away. And she sent the email to the person, and they responded like within hours.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when we get into more of that nitty gritty later and how you can use it, and it's not just this blanket statement that you're typing in, the mistake that I made when I asked it to outline this podcast. It's incredible. It's so much more than people think.
Right.
And oh my gosh. So yeah,
let's dive into it. We wanted to start out with like the definition of what AI is and what all this hype is about. And I'll be candid, like I truly typed into ChatGPT, what is the definition of AI? So these are all answers from ChatGPT. So AI is a short for artificial intelligence. It's a technology that enables computers or machines to perform tasks that are typically require human intelligence, aka one of the greatest technological advancements of all time.
Was that editorialized? Did you add that?
That was Shelby's.
Okay. Absolutely. I have to agree.
Yeah, and then it matters because as we talked about earlier, like people were so against the internet, and like look where that has gotten us, like once they started embracing the capabilities and what it was able to do for people and in the world. And so that's kind of why it matters.
Yeah,
even today.
It's that evolve or die mindset. That seems a little dramatic, but jump on, because what did we say? 1 billion, millions and millions of people are using this. Mm-hmm. So if you're not using it at some point, you might be behind. I'm not using that as a threat. I'm not saying like if you don't jump on.
Yeah.
But, it's a tool to enhance the job that you're currently doing.
100%.
So if you're doing it by yourself without the tools, that's kind of like working with one arm tied behind your back. You're doing yourself a disservice by not checking out these tools. Mm-hmm. They're going to make your life easier.
Yeah, like as we say on here a lot, like time is money.
Time is money. Work smarter, not harder.
So much time in the grand scheme of things.
And just make the headache.
Your job so much more efficient. So with AI, as you go into AI, it breaks down into different types of AI.
Yep.
So the first one, which we've been referencing quite a bit, is ChatGPT. So what is ChatGPT? It is chat-based generative pre-trained transformer.
That is what I was going to name my third baby. Had I given birth to a robot. But since I didn't, I went away from it.
Overwhelming.
But I'm a little jealous.
Chat-based generative pre-trained transformer.
Yeah, can't
it doesn't even like
picture it. Yeah.
Oh my God, that is so funny. But it doesn't even like phonetically make sense. Chat-based generative pre-trained transformer. Does it? Anyway.
Chat-based
generative.
Okay.
So ChatGPT, as we said, is powered by AI. So what generative pre-trained transformer is, we're going to break this down so you can understand how it is generating these responses, because that's essentially what this GPT is. So one by one, generative means that the model is going to generate a new answer each time you interact with it. That's the simple one.
Yep. Yep.
The pre-training part involves that GPT, so it gets trained. It's already trained before you even interact with it. So all this stuff is done before you have interacted, said your prompts, all that stuff. So the pre-training part of the GPT, and please stop me if I am not making any sense, because it's a lot of information.
The way I understand it is, so it's you access it through the internet, and again, someone could listen to this and be like, you're totally wrong, but it has all of this information at its quote unquote fingertips.
That's part of the pre-training process.
Yes, they have the access to all of this information, and so you can go on.
As a whole, it has got all of this large text-driven data.
It's like it has all of the encyclopedias that you could ever imagine opened up and halfway turned to the right page that it, right?
Totally.
That's before, if we didn't have the internet. Encyclopedias, when we were writing our paper, like I had to write papers using the encyclopedia.
Oh, I never had it.
I know you didn't. I know you didn't.
There was a filter on Instagram one day. I should not be saying this, but here I am. I'm going to say it. And it was like, what's the game? Like, not Truth or Lie. Never Have I Ever or something.
Yeah.
And it was like cheated on a test. And I just started like busting out laughing, because it's like the time where I grew up, like we had the internet, but people didn't know how to put constraints on the internet. So it was like, it was just a free for all on that shit.
So of course you did.
Of course I did.
I got where I am by never cheating on a test. Just kidding.
Anyway, don't fire me.
Hello.
So one way also to look at this is as like a chef. So you could even take the school example in that.
Yep.
So a chef is learning all these different cuisines and recipes and techniques. It's gathering all this information. Mm-hmm. So that's what the pre-training phase of this model is. So when you, what note did I write down here?
So then when you go on, what's that show where they give you all these ingredients and they tell you to make a delicacy out of it? That's how they're able to put it together, because they have all that information in their heads.
The transformer part.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, it's all good.
Oh, I skipped way ahead.
It's all good. That's how it all works together, right?
Yeah.
So it starts with the pre-training, it gets everything, and then the transformer part is when you actually get into, I do Italian cuisine or I do desserts. Like that's the more intense word.
Chopped. Sorry,
yes.
That's what I was trying to think of. Chopped, the name of the show.
I watch that show when I get my nails done. They always have the theme to work on.
That's great.
Aren't you jealous?
Yep.
So the transformer's role, now since we're there, is to understand the relationship between words, phrases, and sentences in the prompt.
Yep.
So that's how it it can generate a new response every single time.
I love it.
Sense?
Yeah, no, that does make sense. I love the chef example.
Yeah.
And I actually like the chopped example too, because they're asking you to make something with your knowledge that you have with hot dogs.
Yeah.
So then they're able to put that into their brains, put it in, mix it up, and then zoom, here you have this, whatever it is. And that's the output of the ChatGPT.
Yeah. I think like the big light bulb moment in when I was doing that research and like how it actually works is that it's all already done. Like when you're interacting with it, like it's not going to the internet, like it already has all the information that it needs. And it's not changing anything unless they'll do like, what do they call them? Like updates, I forget what they call them, but they can do updates where they'll update the training process of the architecture. They call it architecture.
Well, because it is it's its own world, and
it's so interesting. Like I can't tell you how many hours I spent getting into it.
I know, and I just to freshen up my terminology, my glossary of terms, which we will be providing a tool that has a glossary of terms, because this episode is really going to just be like us laying the foundation and using lots of metaphors and parallels to describe what this is. The next few will be a little bit deeper in a few of these, but we will be using some terminology that makes us feel smart.
Right.
I'm just going to...
We just want to lay the foundation and kind of hold your hand through this process so we're all speaking the same language when we're talking AI, because there's so many terms where you're like, what's a prompt, or like generative pre-training, you know, like we just we want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yes.
So we're starting at ground zero.
Absolutely. And so, okay. So I want to go back to the top of the show when, you know, the writer's strike was going on and people were concerned that the AI was going to steal the writers' jobs. And just how, you know, as clients, we have clients that listen to this and they know that, you know, we use AI, we rely on AI to help us in some areas in ChatGPT. I just want to like discuss how Bing Bang uses ChatGPT and AI. So there's a difference between businesses that their whole business is built on AI and ChatGPT, and then there are businesses like Bing Bang, fully established. We have our vision, we have our core values, we have what we do, which is tell stories on behalf of all these wonderful businesses. We simply use AI and ChatGPT as a tool to enhance the work that we already do.
100%.
So we are not a AI business. We are a business that uses AI. So if a client, you know,
Did you think of that yourself?
Well, yeah.
That's pretty clever.
That's what we do. So, you know, knowing that clients come here, they pay for a service, they pay for this partnership. We respect that 1,000%. Like, we would never just say, okay, a job comes in, we're going to hand it off to these little robots. That is just absolutely not how it works.
But sorry, not to cut you off, but like, why wouldn't you want... I mean, I have my knowledge. As we established, I cheated on tests. And so it's like, I have my knowledge. Why wouldn't you want me to use a tool that has so much other knowledge and information and stats and details to back it up? Why wouldn't you want that for your business to like help enhance what we're doing here?
Yep, absolutely. So you don't come to us and say, could you please create my brand? We don't pull out our pens and our papers and draw that for you and then hand it back. No, we use the Adobe Creative Suite to give you this beautiful logo, the branding, the suite, the everything, because that is a tool that we use. Same with the presets that are in the cameras for photos. The editing tools that we use on the gorgeous videos. You know, if we gave you back the raw footage, the B-reel, the clip reel, you would be like, what the hell is this? No, we use tools to make a product that much better. And we are doing the exact same thing with AI and ChatGPT. We understand you, our clients. We know your vision, your goals, what you want to do. We use all those to create constraints and prompts to help make whatever it is that we're creating for you better. It could be copywriting for social media. It could be a script. It could be anything.
I can't wait to get into that episode where we talk about how you can actually use it, because it is just going to blow your mind.
No, it absolutely is.
So all the ways you can use it.
Right. And so we are making sure we're being very mindful in what we ask it to do, so it can put out the very best product that is unique to each of our clients. So you would never see. So, okay, I'm going to take us back another parallel. Remember when Canva first came out?
I love Canva.
I know you do. And I have a very deep, does John have an opinion on Canva? No?
Grace does.
Yeah, Grace does, because she's an Adobe
visual designer. She's
an Adobe girly. And
side note, Adobe did come out with their type of Canva though. So.
I know. And I listened to, yet again, another podcast that kind of has me back and forth on the Canva situation. So Canva, when it first started, people would use it as like a very quick and dirty graphic design tool. And me, having been trained in graphic design, who's done the work and has done everything from scratch, I'm like, lazy, cheating fools. I could spot a Canva template from a mile away. And I'm like, that company is using Canva and that company is using Canva. All they did is change the colors and the logos, but I know it. I know it.
It's the same graphic.
It's the same thing. I know it. They customize it themselves. And I prided myself on that. I'm like, Canva.
As you should
have. I'm an Adobe snob. So that is to say, when people are like, well, then if you use ChatGPT to create this social copy, am I going to see similar social copy for X brand?
No,
you are not. You are absolutely not. And that all has to do with the prompt that you put in and the constraints that you put around that, which we will get into that deeper. But I want Shelby to kind of walk us through what those 2 words are.
Yeah.
Because that has a huge part in why it creates something so unique to you.
And also to add on top of that, part of that is also because of what we talked about, what generative means. It generates a new response each time you interact with it. So it is never going to give the same response. I mean, I could even, in the same chat, ask the same question and I am going to get a different response. Like, that's just the way it's designed and trained to interact with people who put in prompts. So
school us. Take us to school. What is a prompt? This will be on the glossary that we provide.
A prompt refers to the initial input or message provided to the model to initiate a conversation or request a response. So that is essentially what I am asking ChatGPT. I'm going to be talking in ChatGPT because that's what I use most likely.
Yep.
So it's when I interact with it and I'm asking it to give me something or do something for me.
Yep.
So we've discussed this because it's, as you kind of brought up earlier too, it's not more than just saying, write me a social caption. Like, okay.
Right. This thing is not magic.
Right.
It needs a little bit of
information.
No, you don't rub the little lamp. It needs some information from you. Hey, Buddha's,
Isn't that luck if you rub Buddha's belly?
I don't know. I'm a straight up Lutheran.
I digress.
I digest.
Who said that?
Melanie.
Oh my gosh, that was so wrong.
Yeah, it needs a bit of information on you can be a little bit lazy, but no, it needs a bit of information on your part. It cannot read your mind.
Right. And the way you do that, which we've found to be most successful, is giving it these constraints or parameters or guidelines or whatever. So it just gives it more meat to construct something that will actually benefit you in the end. So you're not like...
Yeah, it makes it more niche too to exactly what you're talking about. So as we said, it could scour each corner of the internet to find all this information. You are giving it less to work with, which is going to make it more unique to your subject matter.
Exactly. So one girl I've been following who I mentioned earlier, her name's Lauren Anderson. She runs a digital marketing company. So she monitors, she creates Facebook ads and monitors them for businesses. And she's been using ChatGPT in her business. And she gave us a prompt so gracefully, and I'm like, this is actually kind of a good one that I wanted to share with the group. And she's open to, she says she got it off Reddit, so there's
interesting.
Yeah, so
again, all corners of the internet. Reddit, that's a scary place.
Yeah. I don't go on there.
No,
so a prompt that she said you could use is to tell ChatGPT to act as a role. So that could be a marketer, an event planner,
like the lawyer conversation,
lawyer, CEO. And then create a task. So the task could be a website layout, a social caption, project timeline, even a recipe. And then show it as a format, a wireframe, a presentation, a video. So you can give it specific things and it'll give you a whole, I'm not kidding you, it'll give you bullet points on bullet points of how
this podcast outline. I was like, I should have rethought that.
And it's overwhelming, but even an example of how I use parameters too is I want a social caption talking to young drivers, showing them the benefits of choosing unleaded 88. That is some guidelines that I can put around.
Right.
I can even do length. I can be I want it 2 paragraphs or I want 2 sentences.
Yep.
And it just kind of clarifies your message to reach your end goal.
So smart, because had you not thought to use the prompt that you did and the constraints that you did, had you just said, teach kids about gas. Think about how, there's, as we know, there's all kinds of different types of fuel.
Yeah.
Diesel, it could have gone boom, way over here. But you took away some of those options and just kept it right where it needed to be. And then the output you got was
what I needed.
What you needed.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's not so much using it, it's learning how to use it. I was even talking to how I heard something the other day where she was so instead of hiring 10 copywriters, you're now going to hire one person who will develop these prompts and constraints.
Yes. And this person still has the knowledge of copywriting. They know what good copy looks like.
Yep.
Because, right, you still have to have that skill.
Yep.
You just, in addition, you have to have this additional skill set on how to create the prompts and just know exactly what your clients are looking for, which is, isn't that what you want when you have someone working for you? You would know, we've got certain clients where, you'll do something and you'll be like, do you think the client would like this? And I would be like, oh no, or, oh yes. It's 100%. It's playing that role.
Because
the
that
gatekeeper.
Is such a good point, because when I write copy, I have my own style of writing, and it doesn't always align with every client, which I do try to speak in the voice of the client, but sometimes just to double check, I will put what I write into ChatGPT and I'll be like, make this more blue collar for this trucking company.
Right.
And,
Absolutely.
just to refine it and see my copy, same message, but in a different way that'll resonate better with the audience that I'm trying to attract, if that makes sense.
No, it totally does. I was thinking about it on the drive here. I was like, being a copywriter myself and someone that loves writing, I can see myself using ChatGPT and AI to be basically my editor. So I create the big thing. I write the big thing, but I do want that second set of eyes on it that has, this other knowledge. I kind of view them as my editor.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. You could go in vice versa too and have them write the bulk of it, but then you go and edit and be like, no, change this, change this.
And I do that too.
Absolutely.
Even if I need like just one more sentence or something, like just to, what would ChatGPT put here?
Right. Yep.
Just to pick their little technological brain.
Little huge. Amazing.
I know. And
I could geek out over this for hours.
Well, I feel like we're getting so far ahead, and I don't want to overwhelm people with like all that there is. I just want to simple, basic. I wanted to bring up the other types of AI too, since we're here. So we have ChatGPT, which is more of like the copy and talking, whatnot. And then there's also Dolly.
Yep.
And that's more of your image generated.
That's like what we talked about with the beautiful.
Yes. Yeah. And I even heard a conversation. There was a guy, his parents own a bakery, and they needed to update the images of the bakery. And he was saying how it would have to take like over hundreds of images or different types of images between like have this bagel sandwich with sausage and this one with bacon and this one has avocado, like so many images that they needed that would have taken all day to shoot. And he's like, I'm going to try putting one image of this breakfast sandwich into Dolly and being like, add bacon, replace bacon with sausage. So much time saving that you don't have to worry about. You know what I mean?
I know.
Or even we were in talk about like change your clothes.
Back to Adobe, back to Canva, there are tools within those programs where you could take a picture of me sitting here wearing this. I'm like, I actually wish I had a fancy boss babe business suit on. I could magic wand it could put that on me. Now it's like, maybe the whole next episode should just be about like the ethics and that conversation around all of this, because I was telling you yesterday about the conversation about the think piece the lady wrote.
Yes.
About her images that were generated by AI and how they didn't feel like her, and then she felt inauthentic. We'll talk about that in the next episode. But there is a ethics conversation around all of this, but so we'll save that, I think, for an entire episode deep dive.
But that being said, like, we do want to hear from you guys, so please email us or DM us any questions you have about it.
Yes,
we want to touch on. Oh yeah, I actually pull those out. Mackenzie got on Instagram yesterday and brought up the questions to the people.
Yes, and
but we want this to be informative for you. We want you to get all your questions answered.
An open conversation.
Just a conversation.
It's because it's new, exciting, it's fun. Like I said on the Instagram story yesterday, I don't think, other than the people who created it, I don't think that there are any experts. So if anyone's out there and like, I am the expert, I'm sorry, this is changing so fast.
Yeah.
They're full of it. They're full of it. Them. They will become experts, just like there are people, that have an expertise in this area. Like the internet, people are IT, they have that expertise in the area, but they didn't write this. So
right, we're all students of the game.
We are all students of the game. I love that. So I think we covered Rachel. Hey, Rachel. I think we covered her question. She said, "What even, or how does it even work?"
Yeah.
So I think we covered that. Just by what is ChatGPT? What is AI? What is the how do you get there?
open.ai.com. It's completely free. I wrote it down because I'm like, I have it bookmarked on my phone.
OpenAI.com.
Okay, perfect. Yep. And then from there, it'll bring up if you want to use ChatGPT, Dolly, or another one.
The API, which is just how it connects into your like current software.
Yeah.
So that was Rachel's question. So Rachel, I hope that we did answer it, at least start to. And then my friend Amber, she said, I use it for dining guide review responses or help with coming up with new promo names. And I love that. That's brilliant.
I was even trying to use it for this because I emailed you last night. I'm like, I want this series to have a name.
Yes.
So I was trying to ask ChatGPT like a clever name for this series, and nothing really hit the way that I know we can make it hit. So I said, ChatGPT, I know you're there, but I'm gonna.
Which I love. We are never, ever, ever devaluing the work that we can create as humans, as creatives. Mm-hmm. I love the work that we do as creatives. This just makes our, this can just help us enhance it. Mm-hmm. But we're also, we have these brains for a reason. So you weren't thrilled by the names there you go. Don't be worried. It's not going to come for your job. Mm-hmm. You are better than ChatGPT. Mm-hmm. You are better than AI because you're a person. God damn it, you're loved.
Mackenzie just wants to give you a little virtual hug.
I will. But yeah, ultimately, don't be intimidated by this. It's something that's here. It's something that we all have access to, and it's just how we use it. That's up to us.
I love ending on that.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
It's up to you.
And we'll hold your hand and guide you through this series. So stay tuned for more awesome info.
Yeah.
Again, send in your questions. And I think that's all she wrote.
At least. Well,
so far, that's all. That was a good one. I didn't even mean to do that.
And ChatGPT she does identify as female.
Yeah. At least ours does.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, you guys, for hanging in there with us. This is exciting. This is good stuff.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.